go. Welcome back to the Todd Starnes radio program. Happy to have you with us. Want to go to the Patriot Mobile Newsmaker line. Congressman Greg Steube joins us, member of the House Ways and Committee, Judiciary Committee. Congressman, hope you're doing good.
Yeah, doing well. Thanks, Todd, for having me.
You know, a lot of people very angry right now, Congressman, about what's happening to President Trump and the judge's insane orders to the jury earlier today. What's your take on where this is all going?
I mean, as a lawyer, frustrated is the least description adjective that I could give live on the radio. As a member of Congress, it's insulting that the weaponization and politicization of our Department of Justice under Joe Biden to take out his number one political enemy. And of course, it's not necessarily to get an actual conviction. It's to keep him off the campaign trail for 5 weeks. It's for him to spend tens of millions of dollars on a defense on something that's completely and utterly ridiculous and wouldn't be brought against any other American for similar alleged behavior. And it's just frustrating because as a member of Congress, there's not much you can do other than what I and some of my other colleagues wanted to do, is defund parts of the Jack Smith investigation, other things like this. But this is New York, and they're going to do this. And it's beyond the pale that we're seeing this in present day America. This is the stuff you see in Venezuela going after their political opponents. This is the kind of stuff you see in Russia. And we've entered into it here. I mean, the actual charges are ridiculous. And I just pray and I hope that there's one juror on this jury panel that isn't going to use the politicization and the things that are going on, is reasonably going to look at the facts and reasonably look at the testimony. Like we had the individual who used to represent Michael Cohen come and testify before Costello, that came and testified before the committee and then testified on Trump's defense, that said Michael Cohen came to him and said Trump had nothing to do with this. It was all his idea. And he was his lawyer representing him at this time. So hopefully there's a juror that has a reasonable amount and is willing to be like, there's no way that President Trump committed any of these. And if one person, hopefully they'll get a hung jury and not be able to convict him.
And that is hopeful. That's what we're certainly hoping for. The reality is that that's going to be a long shot. We're praying for a miracle. If he goes to jail, are you concerned about unrest in this country, one way or the other?
100%. I mean, like you're seeing the machinations of like a communist socialist country where they're taking their political opponent and putting him in prison for something that he didn't do, that's ridiculous, that doesn't violate the law. Any lawyer, any person, even CNN is like, well, Michael Cohen is a horrible witness and is lying to the jury. Yeah, I mean, you're going to see unrest in this country if that happens. I would think that they're smart enough. So let's say that the jury does convict him on one or multiple counts of this. I would imagine that the Biden team has had conversations with Judge Merchant and is like, you cannot put him in prison, because if you put him in prison, America is going to go like crazy. Like it's going to be, and Todd, this is what's happening in America right now. Mainstream Americans, like not political Americans, people that are independents and even some Democrats see this for what it is. And the more times he's indicted, the more times he's having to deal with stuff like this, the higher his poll numbers go, because everyday Americans see this exactly for what it is: political persecution and prosecution of their opponent. And they see the alleged crime and are like, this is ridiculous that they're going to charge him for not. He annotated a charge in his business the wrong way, allegedly. And they see it for what it is. So his poll numbers are going to skyrocket. I actually think Trump deep down is like, yeah, and he said this with the whole gag order thing, which is a whole nother issue for another day. I hope he does send me to prison, because I'm willing to do that for my own freedom and for the freedom of Americans to stand up for that. And that's kind of where we are. And I think if the judge is stupid enough, if there is a conviction that comes back to put him in prison, you're going to see complete support all across the country for what they know is a weaponized justice system against their political opponent.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And again, this all comes back down to reasonable doubt. And when you've got the prosecution, it took them over 4 hours 4 hours in their closing arguments. That tells me that they don't even have a clue what this case is about.
I did prosecution in the JAG Corps. Obviously I went to law school, but I actually prosecuted federal crimes in the JAG Corps as a prosecutor. And you would never bring a case like this. And you would assume that the jury would have enough understanding hearing the defense to be like, this isn't, but again, it's New York. You never know. It's mostly Democrat up there. You have a completely weaponized Alvin Bragg who campaigned on trying to go after Trump. And you never know what a jury's going to do, but you would hope and pray that out of the entire jury, there's going to at least be one person that's going to look at this and be like, see it for what it is, and not bring charges. But there's a part of me that thinks that, hey, how many of these jurors were like hand selected into the pool by Alvin Bragg and the Democratic machine and the deep state to ensure that they're going to get a conviction, some form of a conviction, so that then during the general election in November, they can tout on every single airwave, on every single ad, that the convicted Trump, the convicted candidate of the Republicans, and they're going to use that, obviously political, which shows you, there wasn't the Biden campaign like there yesterday or something and had some event. It just shows you that Biden's DOJ and Biden himself and the apparatus of the Democratic Party is all over this. They created this, they started this, and all of these different jurisdictions, these are Democratic jurisdictions, just to tar and feather our nominee that will be anointed in our July Republican nomination process for president.
And just to be clear, so if Trump is found guilty today, he could be remanded immediately. I don't think the judge is that stupid, but he could be sent right off to prison. Is that right?
Absolutely. He could be put in handcuffs, processed, put in an orange jumpsuit, and put in jail for a period of time that the judge feels appropriate. And I really don't think that even the Democrats want that, because they know that the response to that's going to be overwhelming. But it's not beyond the chance. And this judge is completely and utterly compromised, gave money to Joe Biden. Trump's lawyers even multiple times asked him to recuse himself because he's not impartial. There are whatever happens today will get overturned in an appellate court. There are a number of different things that are going to be appealed if he does get convicted. But they know that that'll be like 6 months from now or 3 months from now or however long from now. And at that point, it's too late because he's, quote unquote, a convicted felon in New York. So this is all political. I know everybody listening to this radio station knows that it is. But I just hope that the mainstream America and everyday Americans out there see this exactly for what it is. And if my frustration hasn't come through, I think every patriot, not a Republican, but I serve this country. I put on a uniform, and to see what's happening in the political process to weaponize our justice system against your political opponents is insane. I just recently read an article where Jack Smith was going to indict members of Congress who, quote unquote, voted against.
Unbelievable. Congressman, I hate to do this. We are right up against a break, and the computer is going to cut us off, but I appreciate you coming on. And again, the frustration is coming through. I get it. Folks, hang tight. We'll be right back.